Welcome everyone. This is our next session for STARS Parent Club, which we created just because April is Autism Awareness Month, and because we all live in a very special period of the time where we find we can be easily overwhelmed, a little bit more stressed than usual. And I think it's a good idea to support each other now online and give us a sort of opportunity to discuss what is bothering us and how we can deal with it in the most effective way. And today we've got very special guest. She's joining us from Denmark. So she belongs to expat family all her life. We're talking with Manuela Bolton now. Is that your new name? Because Manuela just became a mother 2 months ago. She got beautiful young son. But overall, Manuela is a fantastic specialist in emotions. So she was coming to STARS doing a micro class some time ago, and everybody was blown away. So she got master in positive psychology. She's been working with the kids and adults, especially with the teenagers as well, who can't cope with emotions, with the children with the special needs, and designed very interesting and very useful tools which really can help us to deal with emotions on a daily basis. So Manuela, over to you.
Thank you, Irina. Yeah, like you said, it's a crazy time, and emotions have been a passion of mine for the past 10 years because I really didn't understand my own emotions. So that's where it started for me. And now with everything that we're experiencing, it's just escalated and heightened even more. So there's even more emotions and they're even more intense. And I feel really lucky because of these 10 years of having studied emotions, I feel like, okay, I can kind of deal with this. I can navigate this, and I know what I need to do. It's not always easy to do it, but I know what I need to do, and I have the tools to do it. And one of the things that I really realized in these 10 years is that when we have emotions, especially uncomfortable emotions, and we don't know exactly what it is, it's really disturbing. It's one thing to have uncomfortable emotions and to know what it is, and it's another thing to have uncomfortable emotion and not have any idea what it is. And so what we end up doing is we end up saying, oh, I feel bad, or I feel stressed, or we use kind of general terms. But in reality, emotions are much more nuanced than that, and there's great value in clearly identifying what we're feeling. And there are much bigger researchers than me who've done lots of studies on this, and kind of a phrase to summarize it is, we can name it to tame it. So if we specifically identify what we're feeling and we put a name on it, then it calms down the feelings, especially the unpleasant feelings. For the pleasant feelings, it does the opposite. It helps us to really acknowledge it and build up on it and hold on to it. But for the unpleasant feelings, which are unfortunately very dominating at the moment for many of us, it helps to name it so that we can tame it. And an analogy that I really like, and I don't know, Irina, if you've heard this one before, but for me, it's a bit like if you're walking down a dark alley and you see this cloaked figure, just black cloak, and you don't know who it is, right? That's the uncomfortable feeling. You're like, ooh, what is that? And our minds have a negativity bias, right? So that means we notice and remember negative things more. And so we automatically jump, or most of us will automatically jump to thinking of what is possibly the worst thing that could be there. So for me, if I was walking down a dark alley and I saw this dark cloaked figure, I would think, oh my gosh, is that an ex-murderer? Is that someone who's going to attack me? My mind would start racing in that. But if we have the courage to look and see who it is, it may just be a homeless person that's lost and completely harmless. It might be a lost old lady, and they might not be our best friends, or but they could be quite harmless. So feelings, and especially unpleasant feelings, are a bit like that for me. They're kind of scary to, and sometimes we don't want to maybe go look at what exactly is there, but as soon as we know, oh, that's what it is, then it's like, okay, now I know what I need to do, because now I know exactly what I'm feeling. So name it to tame it is like a big headline that I think is really helpful here. And my tools, the feeling magnets that you mentioned, Irina, are really based on that, and they act as prompts to help us know what we're feeling. So um, I'll just show you an example. I just before this call picked out how I was feeling. So I was kind of feeling a little bit, but I didn't really know what it was. And so I looked through the feeling magnets, which are just a lot of feeling words, and I came up with all of these feelings. So let's see if I can read backwards. So I'm feeling frantic, anxious, restless. All of that is quite present these days in general as a new mom, with the coronavirus, with everything. And then at the same time, I also realized, oh, I'm feeling very honored to be asked to be here. I'm feeling grateful that my husband is a great husband and is taking care of our son right now, and that we have a nice home. And I'm feeling very motivated to help you all understand and make sense of emotions, because it just makes life so much easier, right? And then what I like to do as well is I like to also focus on what I want to feel. And here I want to feel calm, hopeful, carefree, and alive. And why I do that, I want to feel, is because it helps me to shift my attention. And then I can focus on, okay, what is something that I know can help me to feel calm? Okay, I know that I really like to meditate, or I have a few breathing exercises that really help me to calm, or going into nature and hugging a tree, that really helps me. So when I become aware of what I want to feel, then I know, oh, I'm one step closer to knowing what I can do to feel that way. So that's kind of, yeah, two really important things. One is, okay, I know I'm feeling all the other things. And for me, what was really helpful here is, okay, there's all the fear ones, right? Which is very dominant. And fear is really there to help us to protect or prepare for something. And then I can kind of go through my mind and be like, okay, have I done everything that I can think of to protect and prepare? So I know I have a great home. I have all the food we need. I have all the toilet paper we need. I also know that we're in a country, in Denmark, where those things are also unlikely to run out. So I can kind of go through a checklist of things that will help me to feel more safe. And the other thing that I liked about this was I was kind of aware that there's something uncomfortable, but I wasn't super clear on all these pleasant emotions that I was having as well. And it was really nice for me to see, oh yeah, okay, so I have all these fear-based emotions, but I also have all these nice emotions that are really pleasant, and to bring those to my awareness. So that's one of the things. And every emotion that we have has a message. Just like the fear one that I mentioned to you. And so once we know what we're feeling, we can understand the message, and we can then address it in the best way possible. And another thing that is helpful to know is that we can feel many conflicting different emotions at the same time. Sometimes that seems weird. Like, can I really be feeling sad and happy and grateful at the same time? And the answer is yes, because I can feel sad that nobody in my family has met my son yet, and I don't know when they will be able to meet him. But I can feel really happy and grateful that we're all healthy and well in our respective places. So that's a helpful thing to just be aware of. Now, that one I just showed you was the adults one and works really well for teenagers. But if you've got kids at home, which I think you do, but if you have younger kids at home, there's also a kids version, which just has fewer emotions and more colors, and can be used like this in a box or on the fridge. And then I also have feeling bodies, which are expressive bodies that also work for kids who don't read yet, and also older kids and adults like these. It can also be a fun game to just express and exchange and act out emotions, so that we kind of normalize emotions, because sometimes we think feelings need to be hidden and be a taboo, but actually bringing them out into the open and being able to have open conversations in the family about what everybody is feeling is really powerful. My husband and I have a Venn diagram on our fridge. So just two circles like this. One circle is his, one circle is mine, and in the middle is our shared one. So I have my feelings on one side, he has his feelings on the other side. And if I see that he's feeling something I'm also feeling, I'll move it into the middle. And it's really nice because even if you know, the ones in the middle are, we're both feeling anxious, then, you know, we're in this together. There's that real feeling of we're in this together, and we can confront this together, and we can find solutions. And so I really, really highly recommend also being very honest and open about feelings with each other in the family, because it gives the others the permission to have all those feelings as well. And it means, and it, ultimately, we also can't really hide them, right? So even if we don't admit that we're feeling afraid, then the others can still feel it, because we have something in our brains called mirror neurons that allow us to feel what the other person is feeling. And maybe we don't have the words for it, but we can get a sense. And bringing in our bodies with movement and breath to help process the emotions, because when we're in kind of panic mode or really, really high anxiety, it's really hard to think rationally, right? Our brain is not able to process it. And for that, there's a hand model of the brain, which you might be familiar with. So if this is our brain, in the middle of it, we have the amygdala, which is kind of the emotional center of the brain. And in the front, just behind our forehead here, we have the prefrontal cortex, which allows us to think rationally. And what happens when we have high intensity, unpleasant emotions is this: boop, the lid flips. So the connection between the amygdala, the emotional part, and the rational thinking part of the brain is kind of broken. And so we need to do different things to first bring back down our rational thinking part of the brain, so that we can then do all the processing. And for that, everyone has their own ways. You know, some people might like to go for a run, or just jump up and down, or scream into a pillow, whatever it is that allows you to just let out some of this energy. I really like to shake my body, and this is something that animals do. And if we had a bit more time, we could do some shaking together right now, because it just feels fantastic. But you can just put on a song that you like and literally just start shaking through your body. One leg, then the other leg, then maybe you lie on your back and you do both legs in the air, and you shake until your whole entire body is shaking. And this is something that animals do to release excess emotion. Like, for example, when an antelope has been chased by a lion and it just escapes, how it releases the excess fear is by shaking. And the same thing works for us. And this is not to make the feeling go away, because the feeling is there for a good reason and is important for us to acknowledge. But it is really helpful to just bring the intensity down, so that we can think rationally and take action in a constructive way.
It was really interesting to learn from you a few tools. Can you just share with us how people can learn more about what you developed, and if they wish, they can order that? So
definitely. So the website is feelingmagnets.com, and all the tools exist in French and in English for those of you French speaking. And on the website is also a free emotion course. So if you want to know more in depth about specific emotions, you can sign up for the free emotion course that comes by email, and gives a lot more detail